On today's show, we answer your questions about dreams, ones you've sent in to us. We also feature a dream that shows in a very graphic way the pain we end up enduring from pushing people away. Welcome to the Dream Interpretation Podcast with Michael and Sandy.
Hi, everybody. Welcome. I'm excited you're here.
This is another half hour of us eavesdropping on the very personal communication between the spirit world and you on your earth journey. That's why we look at your dreams. We want to tell you why you're here, what issues you have, what you're meant to work on, what you're meant to avoid. All those things are in your dreams. And everybody who ever sends a dream to the show will always get a reply. Not on every dream you send, but you're always going to get at least one reply. You can't send us 10 dreams and expect 10 interpretations. We do not have those kind of funds. But we will always give you at least one interpretation. So please send your dreams. We need them for the show.
Yes, thank you. So we've got another channeling event that's going to be starting this month. Yes, in March. We're going to have another one on the 13th that goes through and explains to you channeling and why you should channel and how great channeling is. And it's just phenomenal. And Michael just really knocks it out of the park on that one. I get to say all the positive things. But anyways, Michael, on the 23rd of March, we are going to start our next channeling course. So if you've been wanting to channel and you've been thinking it's part of your path, then you definitely want to join us either for the webinar on the 13th or for the channeling event that'll start on the 23rd. And you can always book a call with me. And I believe you provide that info, don't you, Michael?
Yes, indeed. Just go to dream-analysis.com/channel and you'll get all the details about the course. But you can book and talk to Sandy and say, hey, is this for me? And she will channel and let you know whether it's for you or not. Or show up to our webinar on the 13th and ask your questions. We can answer that there. It is kind of sad. Sometimes people want to do the course and their guides say, hey, it's not in alignment for you. But at least that's a good thing. And this is what we say at the outset of every show. Your dreams tell you what you need to do. Your guides are going to tell you what you need to do. And that's how we help people. That's what we do.
Yep, exactly. So, Michael, I wanted to start out a little bit different. So we got some interesting questions that came in through the mailbag, and I'm excited to cover them for this week because I think we'll have some interesting answers. So, Michael, you ready to dive in and let's look at the questions that came in from some people?
Absolutely.
And the first question that she's curious about is how to distinguish between knowing when something in your dream is just from real life and not significant. Like I was a teacher until 3 years ago, and I had many dreams in schools with school buses and as a teacher. Does this mean that all of these symbols are irrelevant? Similarly, if someone reads a book about some theme, for example, an action book where people are shooting others, and then this theme shows up in the dream, should we ignore it? All right, Michael, here you go. You get to teach.
Yeah, we don't. So you're obviously going to pull in things from your waking life. Your dreams are going to be composed of lots of different things from your waking life. Sometimes they are the backdrop. They're just the backdrop to hold the symbols. So like if you're a teacher and you're dreaming about, oh, I'm in school, but there's a new teacher and he's teaching something different, or he's super tall and he has these special phones with him. Like what is different? What stands out in the dream that is different from reality? That's what we want to focus on. However, and your question's a good question, sometimes the things that are showing up in the dream are still relevant to you. So if I'm not a teacher and I dream about teaching, then it means I'm a spiritual leader. That's what teaching in dreams represents. So you may have that gift. And that's where we step into our channeling, put our channeling hat on and go, does this still apply for this person? They are a teacher, they're dreaming about teachers, does it still apply? And a lot of the time it does, but sometimes it doesn't. And we do need to know, we do need to distinguish. And then your other question about what if I read a book about particular things? Again, it's the same. You're going to draw from the experiences that you're having. So it may still apply. So you may dream about people shooting each other, and the dream is going to bring you back to a time when you had to endure a lot of anger and so on from somebody, which is typically what being shot at in a dream is about. Like this person takes shots at you. Don't go near them. They're no good, you know. So absolutely, what you read about and the experiences you have in your life are going to show up in your dreams. But we want to find the difference. So we'll have a lot of people will say all the time, and we do cover this in our summits And we do have someone coming up in May. But
Yeah.
we do cover it in detail. People will say, well, I had a nightmare, but that's because I watched a horror film. And I will say, well, what did you dream about? And they'll say, I dreamt about Dracula. I go, well, did you watch a horror film about Dracula? And they're like, no, it was Frankenstein or something completely different. It's like, okay, well, then there's a difference. So why did you dream about that? It set the mood. And so we can still interpret it. So don't just discount your dreams because you think they're connected to something else that went on. There is no such thing as a meaningless dream. There is still tons of detail in your dream, but it may be easier for you to remember it because you bring in the symbols and things that are going on that are part of your life.
Wow, that was super. Alrighty, here's question number 2. Are there tricks to finding out which spiritual gifts your dreams are telling you to focus on first? Or do you need the channeling to figure that out? I have all kinds of gifts that show up in my dreams, but I can't tell which take priority.
Well, I can tell you what I do, and I do channel on it. I do. So your dreams are going to show you the gifts, and they're going to show you the nuance. Like we had that last week, the very detailed way somebody has an ability to look inside a person's body. They were X-raying cats, doing a CAT scan, which was the pun in the dream, which was funny. So your dreams are going to show you the gifts, but where in the lineup does it work for you? Last week, it was to work with the person's channeling. Now, obviously, she gets it in channeling, but so she is to offer channeled readings to people. And along with the channeled readings, she has to include health components when she gets them. So your dreams are going to show you, but then is that the most important thing for you to do? And I always trust the channeling on that because we don't see every single one of our dreams. Our recall is not going to be for every single one of our dreams. A lot of people, they might remember 3 dreams a week. Well, I can guarantee you're having more than 3 dreams a night. So because you can't look at all of them, we do want to trust the channeling and go, okay, is this the order? And we do that sometimes for people who do our healing course, because we will have looked at so many of their dreams. We will generally uncover every single gift that they have. And the person might say, like, take an extreme example. Somebody might say, wow, you're telling me I've 7 gifts or 10 gifts, which is huge, right? That's a big number. How could I possibly have that many? And what should I focus on? And they are very specific. And they will say, hey, it's these 2 together first, and then these 3 together, and so on. So it channeling is very good that way, because obviously you can't do everything. And also, it's not just that you can't do everything. There are different times in your life when certain gifts are going to be prominent. So you're going to work on channeling today, develop that, and then maybe some new gift is going to kick in. Or maybe you're meant to work on using your healing gift because that's going to help you raise your own energy, heal issues within you, improve the energy flow within you because you're channeling that healing energy through your body into your clients all the time. That's very helpful for you to be doing that. And it's probably going to free up pathways that are then going to be necessary for the next gifts that are going to kick in. So the order is always well known. It's not like, oh, well, let's try this. They know what they want you to do first. Spiritually, things are important. The sequence is important rather than the timing. So I must do this first, and then I must do this. The spirit world really says, this is the stairs you need to go up. And so if all your gifts are different steps on the stairs, you can't start on the 6th one. So we want to know, what's the first step? What's the first thing I need to do and master? That's what I'm going to do. And then they will say, now it's the time is ready for you to do the next piece. I personally used to get very frustrated about that. It's like, I want to know, where's this stairs even going to, for God's sake? And they won't tell you. They just say, no, here's the first step. Here's what you need to do. Not necessarily about gifts, but about anything in life. You got to work on this issue. And then when you finally start working on this issue, they say, okay, here's the next step. Here's the next thing you need to do. And I get it now. It's like, what is the point in wasting time telling you about something that you may never get to in your life because you're never going to do that first step? And so we say this to people all the time. If you don't work on yourself, don't worry about all the dreams you've had in the past, because the dream you're having today is telling you the same thing as the dream from 10 years ago because you haven't done jack. So it's important to do the work. Work on yourself. That will change your dreams. And realize that your most recent dreams are the most important dreams. What are they saying that you need to do? Especially if you start working on yourself, or you dive into doing a gift, you will have dreams. If it's the wrong thing, your dreams will be telling you, back off, don't do it. This is not for you. So always look at your most recent dreams.
Wow, that's wonderful. Okay, one more. Everyone in the dream represents you. But dreams with mom or dad often show something you need to heal around your experience with them. For example, unconditional love. So, a dream, for example, where your mother is ignoring you could point to that having happened in real life, and the abandonment/rejection is what you need to heal. In this case, the dream is not necessarily showing you ignore others, although it could be showing that. It also could be showing that you ignore some female aspect of yourself. This is why I asked the question. It seems like there could be multiple ways of interpreting this, and that it's not always representing you. Same with a relationship partner. I'm thinking this is where the channeling comes in, and that you won't really be able to give an easy answer to this, but I thought I asked anyways.
Okay,
There
well
you go, Michael.
that's an extremely long, convoluted question. Um, so the question boils down to: I say everything in a dream represents you, and it does. It's a fact. But dreams can show, like somebody can show up symbolically to say, like you said, mom ignoring you in a dream could point to that having happened. It definitely points to that. It never doesn't point to that. If that happens in a dream, it's pointing to that. But I tell you what else, if mom shows up in a dream and she's super loving and welcoming, and you're like, oh, wow, this is great, that also points to that. Dreams show you what you experienced so that you can understand your origin story, or they will show you what you need. So if you didn't get love from mom, you can symbolically get love from mom or other women in your dreams. So it's always going to mean that. Whether you copied her or not is something you already know. Do you ignore people? Like you're saying ignore, but it's going to be worse than ignore. Like when you're a child, when you're an infant and you need mom's love and she doesn't give it, or when you're a little bit older and she only gives it conditionally, like if you don't do what I want you to do, I'm going to give you the cold shoulder. I'm going to turn my back on you. You're tiny. You're absolutely tiny. And that's when you're getting that horrible treatment. It's not really the same as you today with another adult, but you will know yourself whether you've copied mom's traits. So you don't need a dream to tell you that. So your dreams are going to show you this is the way it is. Mom is loving or conditional in how she loves you. And you will easily know, am I the same way? Am I the same way with my kids? Am I the same way with other people? Do I get upset if people don't do what I want? Like that's a childish thing. We know it's childish, but we still get triggered and we still do it. I'm not saying we're infallible in any way, but if our reaction to something that somebody does makes us have a childish reaction, then we have an issue in childhood that we are still triggered by. And our dreams show it and say, you need to heal this if you want to be a mature adult in a mature adult world. What else did she ask? Is there something else I've skipped from that, Sandy?
Could it also be showing that you ignore some feminine aspect of yourself?
Oh, for sure. If mom doesn't give you unconditional love, then you don't learn how to love yourself and accept yourself and be tolerant of who you are. Not tolerant, I don't mean tolerant, accepting of who you are, accepting of just this is how I feel, this is how I am. And if you're critical of yourself because mom was critical of you, then we can reject a feminine energy aspect of ourselves or not love ourselves. Like, so it can indicate any of those things. And so not loving ourselves is a terrible thing. And the dreams will show the reason why this is.
Yeah, so her point of it could be interpreted in multiple ways, but it's not always representing you is not correct. Yes, it could be multiple ways, but it's always representing you or events that happened around you or some aspect of you. Is that correct?
Absolutely. But let's take an extreme. Say it was to represent this is mom exactly. So how can it be me? Well, it still represents how you were impacted by being in the environment of this person. So it's still about that impact on you in your life. It's never not about you.
Wow, that's brilliant. I like that. Hopefully she got clarity on that because that was really good. All righty, that was great. I really enjoyed going through those questions, and hopefully people will get clarity from these questions being asked. And anytime you want to send questions into the show besides sending in dreams, please do, because I will try to bring them up on the show because it's fun to have the discussions and bring clarity to questions. Now, Michael, are you ready to dive into the next set of dreams for today?
I am.
So, what was interesting is last week we covered a dream that was talking about sex and so forth, but it never mentioned sex. The title of it was A Sex Worker or something like that. But it never talked about sex. And so this one I think is going to show some interesting stuff. What
Re-
do you think, Michael?
Redress the balance. Yeah. So the other one wasn't about sex at all. This one doesn't mention it, but it is.
Oh, that's cool. Okay. This is titled Using Pineapple to Remove the Clamp Around Baby's Ankles, and it's from Jane. A fat brown woman in a maroon jumpsuit is pregnant. X-rays have shown that her baby has a light yellow mass around its foot. We don't know what it is. The woman won't let anybody come and operate on her.
All right. So normally when you see pregnancy in a dream, you expect something great being forecast in your future. Because I say it all the time, but not this dream. This is about my thinking is negatively impacted from when mom was pregnant with me. That ties me up. That's what it is. Because it's actually a hair tie. The yellow mass is a hair tie. I don't think she says it there at that part of the dream, but she does later on. And then maroon. Maroon is about frigidity. So if someone wants to have sex with this dreamer, they have big obstacles to overcome. That's what I asked her. I said, is this true for you? And she's like, yeah, I'd have to be honest and say that is absolutely true. And then not letting anyone operate on her. What that's about is I push people away that want to help me. I asked her about this and she said, yes, because they're going to try to control me just like mom did. It's always funny to see the triggers that get people going. And of course, not everybody's going to want to control you, but when we believe everybody will, we're going to draw people to us who do want to control us. So we have to heal the issue so that we can end up living in a world where that isn't the case.
Interesting. What is it about? Why is it a big or a fat brown woman?
It's the protection. So when we see like a jacket or somebody who's overweight, this is the way I protect myself. So I'm protecting my feminine side. I don't let people get close. And of course, the only reason we ever protect is because we were hurt. So the dream is going to address, where did this hurt come from?
Excellent. Okay, we're going to continue on. We put her in a bedroom and she lies on the bed, propped up on pillows. I am a nurse and there's another nurse with me.
So the dreamer's not a nurse. So this says she's a healer. She has a healing gift just because she shows up in this capacity at this part of the dream.
Okay. The pregnant woman has an ideal. She tells us she's going to put a pineapple around the mass and that will help shrink it. Then we can figure out what it is. She tells us she's going to do the procedure herself. She asks the nurse to inject her with a little bit of anesthesia. The nurse puts a needle into her abdomen and the pregnant woman winces. Then the nurse injects another shot into the area where the baby would be. Wow. Ooh. Michael, that sounds very painful.
And it is painful. So this pain is reflective of the pain that the dreamer endures. Now, not the physical pain, but basically the dream is saying, I endure pain because I push people away who would otherwise help me. Now, Jane said that her mom didn't want kids because we see childhood in the dream. So I asked about it. And her mom's view is that life is a living hell from having kids. And her favorite expression to her as a child was go to hell. So
oh my goodness.
not a good environment. But anyway, this part really is because I don't let people get close to me or because I don't let people close to me who would otherwise help me, I end up in pain and I do it to myself.
Wow. Okay, we're going to continue on. I say, two nurses, so things have to be okay then. I'm joking a little to lighten the situation. I asked her if she wants to cut her outfit off, and the pregnant woman tells me that she's going to pull it back so she doesn't ruin it. I think this procedure she's doing is insane.
It is insane. It is insane. We also see the dreamer does not change her attitude easily. Cutting the garment is the right thing to do. It will then be discarded, of course, afterwards. And actually cutting the abdomen open in a dream is great. It's about letting new things in, being open to new things. But she doesn't want to do it. I asked Jane if she was like this. when she works on herself, because I know her and I know she does do a lot of work on herself, does she then go back to how she was? And she said, well, I try to remain the same on the outside, despite all the work I do on the inside. I'm like, oh my gosh, why would you do that? In her own words, she said, I'm willing to make life-changing alterations, but I won't change dramatically who I am. And another interesting thing that came up because we were talking about outfits, she said, I buy myself outfits, but I don't wear them because I'm not good enough to wear something new. Like, isn't that amazingly telling?
Oh,
I mean, she knows
that
this.
is
She
very,
knows this about herself. She just buys them and hangs them up. So we know there's something going on that needs to be healed, that the dream is trying to heal.
yeah. Okay, we're going to continue on. I'm holding two little teeny terracotta handmade pots. Inside of them is pineapple paste that I put together. There's an old-fashioned shaving brush in one of the pots.
So again,
Alrighty.
we're going back to childhood because of the little teeny terracotta, so the handmade pots are tiny. So when we see small things in a dream, it's about when we were small. And then we have the shaving, we have the hair tie, we have the color yellow. These are all about thinking, trying to change those thought patterns. That's what it's trying to do. So shaving is going to remove hair. Hair represents thoughts and dreams. And yellow is about the intellect and dreams. And then we have the hair tie. So we know it's all connected to with let's fix thought patterns that you have that hold you back. And we know they hold her back because the scrunchie is connected to the baby's ankle, like tied to the baby's ankle.
Oh, I was trying to figure out where the hair tie came in. I didn't see it in the dream.
Yeah, she mentions it later on, I think.
Oh, okay, good. The next thing I know, there is a hole in the woman's belly where the baby is. The other nurse is applying pineapple sauce using the paintbrush inside the hole. I move over to look and see what looks like a chocolate ice cream, but then I realize it's the cap that the baby is wearing. The baby is brown and curled up and tucked up in the brown hole with a tiny foot clamped to the side of the womb by a light yellow hair scrunchy thing. It's like a clamp around its ankle. The nurse is applying the pineapple paste to the scrunchy thing. I hope the baby isn't going to lose the foot. I dip some of the pineapple sauce from the terracotta cup into the other nurse's cup. I look in the hole again and see the baby. I put my cup on the floor. The other nurse tells me, now we have to wait. I put the other cup on the floor.
All right.
All right,
So
Michael.
the hole in the belly is good. Like I said before, it's healing. It's actually healing in a dream. And the cap is another reference to the head, like the hair and so on. And pineapple is a fruit so this is another reference to the womb. The other things that we see in there, so we see lots of references to the womb, obviously, in this dream. And like we start off with the maroon color. It's like, nobody's getting near my womb. It's a polite way of putting it. But then we see like, I'm impatient. So she's told that she has to be patient. Now we wait. And so I asked her about that. She says, yeah, I am impatient. And she said, it's funny when you ask somebody what's going on and how does this dream relate? Like, is it nail on the head? She says, yeah, I am impatient. And then just slight little pause. And she goes, and I also don't like procrastinators. So it's
No.
you better also not be impatient. That's how bad it is for me. So anyway, that's the dream. Do you have any questions about any parts of it? It's an interesting thing. We see what it's trying to do. It's trying to heal the negative thinking that the person has connected to mom from her own childhood, even her own time in the womb. Obviously, mom was not happy, and how she inflicts pain on herself by keeping people away. She keeps people away from having sex as well. It's like, you'd have to prove to me you're Prince Charming before you'd ever get near me. So it's a very healing dream, typical of somebody actually who's in a therapy, but it hasn't hit the point yet of I've jumped over the hurdles that the dream is trying to address.
So it's interesting that these are terracotta cups. And the reason why I point that out is terracotta is like pottery. So what do you make of that?
Red is another color for the base chakra. So we've lots of womb symbol, sexual activity, base chakra symbols in this dream. It's ultimately all healing for the base chakra. So we see yellow, which is all about the head. We have the cap, which is about the head. So we have thinking holds me back when it comes to sexual activity, to letting people get close to me, like when it's not even sexual, but it's going to be beneficial for me. So ultimately, that's what the dream is addressing. And like I said, the dreamer is in therapy, but it hasn't worked yet. We're still at the point where we're just discovering through the dream work what are the big issues that are going on. We see the healing. This is a healing dream, but we don't see the healing taking root yet.
Excellent. Not taking root yet. I like that word. All righty. Well, let's move on. I think we did a good job on that one, though. I do find it interesting that she looks in and sees what looks like chocolate ice cream. Is there a nod to dairy in this, or is that?
Well, we often see treats in dreams for people who are healers, and we saw that she's a nurse, and then we see the reference to that. So Halloween, for instance, will almost always indicate somebody's a healer because it's trick or treat. And so, yeah, she's got the ability to do healing. She's using her own ability in her dream to heal issues that she picked up all the way back in childhood and even before being born.
All righty. Well, now it's time to move on to Nicole and see what she has in store for us for this week.
Hi, Sandy. So today from the radio show Mailbag, we'll be looking at a dream entitled Moonlit Beach. The dream starts out on a full moonlit beach, and on the left edge of the scene is a pier, and next to the pier there are dolphins and orcas. There are other people on the beach just looking out at the water. It was a beautiful night. Behind the people in the air is a spaceship and alien beings, but they are all attached to puppet strings. Just up a bit behind is a rocky path that I am trying to maneuver. It's like a switchback, and then I walk down the path and I'm in front of some old-fashioned gas tanks. I'm speaking to someone about the road to take, which I see up ahead. Then I wake up. I responded, "Wow, what a neat little dream chock full of gifts. You're intuitive, a channel, and a hands-on healer. I'm curious, would it resonate at all that even with these gifts, perhaps you're feeling a bit more of a spectator as opposed to really diving into your spirituality? There's a sense that things are a bit rocky, even going this way and that right now. And you're being reminded that your guides are always behind you. Would you let them make contact?" Also, one thing that I didn't add, and I'm seeing as I read it, was this sense of I am talking to someone about the road to take, which I see up ahead. So this is a great sign that the dreamer is actually going to be less of a spectator, going to be diving into their spirituality and taking the road up ahead. So that's really cool. So back to you in the studio, Sandy.
Wow, that was really fascinating. So, Michael, I think we're out of time. I'm going to say goodbye to everybody and have a great week. And thank you for listening.
Take care. Bye.